today what I was going to talk about was reading, and it's a story of Elisha, which his predecessor was Elijah. I know it's confusing; their names sound so much alike, but anyway, he basically got a double portion of the anointing that God gave Elijah, and he was a mighty man of God. Did all kind of really cool stuff, raised people from the dead, all kinds of stuff, but. He had a servant after him whose name was Gehazi. He probably would have been the successor to Elisha. But what happens is he goes and there's a leper who's a powerful man from Syria, and the king of Syria asks his servant girl tells him to go and go to the king of Israel to be healed. And the king of Israel was like, "What? How am I God that I can make people alive and make people dead?" And he said, and then Elijah already knew what was going on because God told him. He said, Elisha said, "Send him to me." And so he did. And there's a bunch of cool stories in it, but I'm not going to tell today because I didn't feel like that's where I needed to go. But so Naaman goes to him, and Elisha tells him what to do, and the guy reluctantly, he doesn't want to do it because it's something so simple. He wants him to go wash in this muddy river, Jordan. And the guy's like, "Is there not so many other more beautiful places that I can wash in?" But his servants was like, "Man, if he had asked you to have done something crazy and great, like climb the highest mountain, do something really cool, you'd have done it." He said, "Why don't you just do this simple thing and dip in the water?" And so he does. He gets healed, and it's awesome. He's like so thankful, and he realizes there's only one God, and he said, "There's no other gods." He said, "So I will serve the Lord from now on." And he tries to give Elisha some gifts, but he doesn't. Elisha won't receive it. He says, "No, it's okay." He goes, he just tells him to go on his way. And so his servant Gehazi is like, wow, he offered him like not just a little bit, but a lot of gold, a lot of money, and a bunch of garments and stuff, and he refused it. And he said, "Man," he said, "I can't believe you just let all that go." So once he leaves, he saddles up his donkey and he chases after God. He tells the guy a lie. He says, "Hey, my master had some people come in, some other prophets, and would you mind giving me some silver and some gold and maybe something for them so they have something to eat?" And he said, "Yeah, what would you like?" And he just starts giving him a bunch of stuff. And so he's really excited. He runs back and he hides it back in the house. And then later he comes on, he goes before Elisha, and Elisha's like, "Hey, where you been?" And he goes, "Oh, nowhere." And then Elisha, because God told him, he says, "Did my heart not go with you?" And the thing that he says is remarkable. He says, "Is now a time to receive money and garments and olive yards and vineyards and maidservants?" And he says, "But behold," he says, "the leprosy that Naaman had is now on you." And the guy went away leprous. Really sad story. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with money. There's nothing wrong with garments. There's nothing wrong with maidservants. He didn't even get all that, right? But he said there's nothing wrong with these things. But he said, "Is now the time to do this?" He didn't properly discern the time. And see, in our life, we got all this stuff going on right now. I mean, COVID, the Bible talks about pandemics in diverse places. And I know we've heard people saying that the coming of the Lord is near all our lives, right? I mean, generations past. But it's probably not ever closer than it's been now. But the thing is now is the time not to focus on all these other things that everyone else is chasing after, right? But it's really time to focus on our relationship. And all those things are good in their place. God may allow us to have those things. That's great. But just make sure that our main focus and our main thing that we're striving after is that relationship with Him. Because when time is over and it's no more, the only thing that's going to matter is that relationship. The same thing with Gehazi. Sure, he got all those things, but what is money? What is garments? What is all this stuff he got when you got leprosy and death is pronounced upon you? Because that was a death sentence, right? It means nothing. He can't even enjoy it with his family. In the same way, when we reach the end of time, whether we die or the rapture takes place and the end of age comes, all of that, when all that happens, what are these things that we're chasing? What are they going to be worth? Anyway, that's all I got. Heavenly Father,